Friends, in this video, I'm going to give you the juicy details about what we did to help our client get his green card in 7 months through adjustment of status right here in America. And also, all of this happened, guys, during the coronavirus pandemic. That's right, between February 2020 and September 2020, all of this happened. So watch this video for those details. I'm also going to tell you 7 things that we did right. And these are tips that might be helpful to your case as well, so stay tuned. Guys, before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to 2 of my followers on Instagram. Check out their Instagram page, guys. They're doing some really cool things. I want to thank you guys for following me. And if you guys want to be featured in my upcoming video, go ahead, take a screenshot of this video, share it in your Instagram story. Don't forget to tag me in that story so that I'll see it. And yeah, just share this information with other people and you might be selected for your Instagram profile to be shared in my upcoming video. All right, now let's get into it. So what happened in this story, friends? Well, let me break it down for you. It all started in February of 2020 when the client came to our office because they heard that public charge was going into effect soon and they were eager to file. And guys, I must say this, it was crazy, right? This is February, and you guys remember in February, there was so much hype about public charge. I talked about it a lot. I kept saying to folks, get ready, get ready, get ready, because public charge is going to be a huge game changer. And it is, guys. I still stand by those words. And so a lot of people were really anxious, and immigration lawyers were all busy. We were all busy because people wanted to get their cases filed before February 24th, 2020. And so this couple came to our office. I did the consultation with them and we agreed to take the case, and it's an adjustment of status case because the spouse is in America, on American soil. The spouse was also concerned because he is Nigerian. It was right around the time when the ban was placed on immigrant visas for those in Nigeria. And so he was concerned about, okay, is this going to impact me as well? Can I still do adjustment of status, although I'm a Nigerian citizen? And of course, I assured him, yes, you can. We can do it because you're right here in America, and that ban does not apply to anyone inside America. So here's some details about this couple. They had only been married for less than 3 months at the time when they came to our office. So this was a very young marriage, which meant that they didn't have all of the evidence that we would have normally liked to collect from our clients. You've seen other videos of mine in which I talk about the fact that you've got to prove bona fide marriage or genuine marriage to show the government that you have the intent of staying together forever. And so there's a long list of evidence that the government likes to receive, and our clients didn't have it. Clients did not have that laundry list, but not to worry, we were not intimidated by that because we knew how to tell the story of who these people are and that they have the intent to stay together forever. So like I said, they didn't have the traditional long list of evidence. Also, one of the spouse had been married before, and so there were some concerns about, well, timeline issue. I was married, divorced, and I remarried. Is it going to look weird or suspicious to the government? And I said, not to worry, because so long as I know and I can feel on the inside of me that this is genuine, I'll be able to tell this story to the government in a way that they could understand that as well. So that was an issue, that was a concern, timeline. So we dealt with it. So here we go with the timeline. So they came to us on February 7th. We filed their case, I want to say a couple of days before the February 24th deadline for public charge. And so I want to say that we filed their case either on that Friday or the Saturday because we had a batch of cases that went out on both days. The new rule went into effect on the 24th, which was a Monday. So we filed. And then we got the receipts that the government received their packet on February 26th. So it was fine. And guys, to our surprise, several months later in August, they got an interview notice. They were interviewed right after Labor Day And the green card was then approved on September 22nd. That is quite an aggressive timeline for this couple and for us. We were all concerned about the fact that under coronavirus, they did have an interview. And I know some couples, their interviews were waived, but not so with our clients. They did have an interview. So what did we do right, guys? The first thing that we did right was we paid attention to an important filing deadline. We knew that the public charge implementation date was set for February 24th, 2020. And so we made sure that we prepared this case and all of the other cases, as a matter of fact, way before that. But things happen, as you know, you're working on cases last minute. This document might be missing, that document might be missing, and a lot of, back and forths with the client, and it took a while. But we were able to still meet the deadline, and we filed before that crucial deadline. So therefore, the client avoided having to go through the more complex process under public charge. So they dodged a major bullet. So that's the first thing we did. So in your case, guys, the next big deadline that's coming up is really October 2nd, 2020. And that's the day when the new filing fees will go into effect. And so we're working really hard right now behind the scenes, my firm, my team, and I, to get our cases prepared so that our clients would also avoid the new fee increase that's coming up on October 2nd. So everything needs to be out of our office by September 30th, really. We're going to get it out. So pay attention to important filing deadlines. The second thing that we did right, guys, was we provided an explanation for the things in this case that were red flag. Things that the government could misinterpret or misunderstand. We explained it. We did not try to cover up and hide this negative thing. No, my strategy is always preemption. Put it out there in our own words, language, and help the government to understand, hey, here's what happened. And therefore, when you put it on the table that way, that issue is no longer that intimidating because they now know about it and they have a great explanation about it. And it takes a little pressure off of you as you're going into that interview. You know, hey, they already know this thing. I've explained it. And it may or may not be an issue now that you've put it on the table. So that's the other thing that we did. So we drafted really terrific declarations explaining the key things that needed to be explained. So if you're interested, guys, in learning about how to put together your own declaration in a very convincing and persuasive way, download my 10 tips on how to draft a winning declaration. Click the link below. Download that document. It's very short, very easy to read, and you could apply it to your own cases you're putting your case together so that you know how to tell your winning story. The third thing that we did was we focused on storytelling. You may have heard me say in the past that immigration is all about storytelling. You've got to paint the picture for the government about who you are, who your partner is, what the story is, how you guys came together, share the love story, touch on how you share a life together today. Very critical. How do you share a life together today? So you hit on all of those major issues so that the government will have a good sense of who you guys are as a human being, the challenges you've had that are relevant, obviously, to the immigration process and to your type of petition. And you get it out there and help them to understand who you are. The fourth thing that we did was we bolstered the evidence. What do I mean by that? I mean that we knew that this couple didn't really have much. And guys, when I say they didn't have much evidence, I mean they did not have a lot of evidence because they had only been married for 2.5 months. So they did not have bank statements, a bank account, they did not have insurance, they did not have car note, all these things. They had no financials, nothing was commingled, right? It was not like that. it was very scanty on the side of the evidence. But as I always say, it's about quality, not quantity. It's about quality. And so we knew evidence, don't have a whole lot of that. What else can we do? So what did we do? We had them submit great letters of support, not just a letter of support that says, oh, John Doe is a great guy and I've known him since kindergarten and I highly recommend him for this immigration process. No. That's not how you do it. If you're very weak on the evidence side, guys, like our clients were, we knew we had to have letters of support of major substance from people who really knew them, who really knew their story, their love story, who could really talk about their marriage and how that marriage is bona fide. And so we were able to get together, get those letters from them. In addition to our own drafting, we drafted great declarations and other explanations and such. So you've got to understand it's about quality and not quantity. The fifth thing that we did was we prepared the case in such a way that there were no delays. What do I mean by that? I mean that there were no filing errors. The file was not rejected, although nowadays, guys, I must warn you, USCIS is rejecting more cases even when there really is no filing error. A lot of immigration lawyers have been reporting out on this lately. So a case may be rejected even though it was not an error. There was no error on your part. So just be aware of that. We prepared it in such a way that we included all of the initial required evidence that the government asked for, the affidavit of support, we had all the tax transcripts, everything. We did not miss anything important. That's the fifth thing we did. The sixth thing that we did that really made a difference was we prepared the client for the interview. Guys, do not skip this crucial step. You might think, well, I have an interview coming up and I have all of the documents that they want me to bring in. I have the originals, I have copies, I'm all set. No, you may not be all set. And if you don't sit down with your partner and thoughtfully go through some questions that may come up, or you have not sat down with your lawyer and gone through a mock interview, you might be blindsided during that interview. And so don't miss that very crucial step. So we did meet with our clients. It was a very short timetable for us, but we made it happen anyway. The seventh thing that happened in this case that really made the difference is the jurisdiction, guys. The jurisdiction. They were not in a big city like New York or LA or Dallas, right? Or Miami. They were in a much smaller jurisdiction, and that made a huge difference with the processing timeline. You've got to understand that jurisdiction matters. And so in addition to all of the things I just laid out for you, jurisdiction will make a difference. Now, I must say this, that even though they're in a smaller jurisdiction, the field office they're in a smaller jurisdiction, if the case was not prepared properly to begin with, they could have been delayed at the National Benefits Center. We could have received a request for additional evidence, an RFE. There could have been a host of other things that could have slowed it down, despite the fact that it's in a smaller jurisdiction. So that in and of itself is not the slam dunk issue. No, it's everything taken together and put together, I should say, that makes all the difference in the world. So guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Share it with other people. Subscribe to McBean Immigration TV if you have not yet subscribed to it. Comment below, let me know which tip you're walked away with that you will even apply to your own situation. And also guys, don't forget to download my tips on how to write a winning declaration. I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.